Welcome to Shooting the Shift with Marilyn and Elizabeth. These light warriors, both native New Yorkers, walk their walk, talk their talk, and keep the real in the deal. This dynamic duo joined forces to assist you through your transformational journey one step at a time, empowering you with spiritual tools you can use in your daily life. Each show begins as a conversation creating an opening for spiritual connection. There are never any scripts, and Spirit is always illuminating the way. And that's when the shift hits the fan. The magical messages of the ancestors, spirit guides, and Gaia are respected, honored, and always given sacred space to communicate. Join Marilyn and Elizabeth as they shake shift up and do what they do best. Speak from their hearts.
Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. Happy 2022. It's hard to even get all those twos out. It's like, wow. I remember Y2K going, what's going to happen? And I thought, absolutely nothing, but I was right. But 2022, it's just a mouthful. And boy, it's like divine feminine, God number, magnified, divine feminine, 2022. Exciting times, Miss Marilyn.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Happy New Year to everyone, right?
Happy New Year. So how was your holiday, Marilyn? How was the rest of your year? You ready to launch on 2022?
I'm ready. I'm as ready as I'll ever be, right? I always go like this.
What's the choice?
Yeah, it's a new beginning, right? It's a new starting point. Working on releasing and of shifting the energies, right? Because sometimes we don't have to release them completely. We just have to shift it a little bit, right? They might be misplaced. So it's okay. I just go, okay, this energy is misplaced. I just need to shift it a little bit and then just work on that. So it was it was very peaceful. It was beautiful. It wasn't, like before the, COVID and all the other crazy, because we used to have like 45 people, family members and friends and over, and we didn't have that this year. So, but I did have, some of my relatives over, we really did have a beautiful, blessed time, so that was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I've been traveling. I've been gone for almost 3 weeks, actually. And, it was a lovely holiday for me because my mom passed 15 years ago. And we as a family haven't really been able to all get together until this holiday. So it was really like my first Christmas that felt Christmassy. And I'm really grateful for it. I got to go to Dollywood in Knoxville, and I had a grand old time meeting a friend I never met that I've known for 5 years, the world we live in, that we know these people online, and we do this deep work online with people, and then we have some of them we haven't met. So she's my second friend that I never met that I got to meet. And we had a grand old time. Yeah, and it was just exactly like I thought it would be, I knew we weren't nervous. We knew each other's hearts, right? That's the most important thing. So I will say I was so grateful and had a wonderful time, and I've got a little bit of the holiday blues. I came home and it was like, 2 months and a week of catch up, right? And that's okay, but it has been a little bit of an adjustment. And here in Colorado, we had the fires, and then we had an ice storm that put out the fires, thankfully. And I was then there was a tornado in Tennessee. So it was like I kind of found the calm in the middle of the storm and got myself home. So I felt really blessed about that. And so I thought about it yesterday, actually, and this morning when I woke up, I know you're with me on this. This is not about resolutions, our show today. This is about our soul evolution. And for me, I need a set mark. Like I need a little bit of a roadmap or my own little treasure map that I can alter, edit as I move forward. So I did want to talk a little bit about the energies for 2022. I'm having such a hard time getting that out today. But I think it's important because I think that these energies affect everybody on the planet in the way that they affect you personally. Only you're going to know, but it's a nice little beginning. So I'm going to just kind of dive into that.
There we go.
Yeah, so here's what I wanted to share with everyone. These are the top 5 things you can do that I feel will serve you well in 2022. And, anything that doesn't resonate, just let it go down the stream, right? So the number one thing, and it does sound selfish, is focus on yourself. We are in a 6th year in numerology, and there's a lot of wonderful things about the 6th year. But we also have this big magnification, as I said, about the divine feminine and that 0 in there. And that adds up to 022, adds up to a 6. And it's a 6 with a God number in it. So focusing on self because, your heart resonance and the information that you get in your downloads, your meditation, following your gut, listening to that kind of stuff is going to really serve you well. And making sure that you find pockets of time for yourself may seem pretty simple, but particularly in this year, it'll be very easy to focus on other people and overextend yourself. So you want to make sure that you are actually putting yourself in your own date book, finding little pockets. The second thing is find creativity in everything. The more you can be creative around something, we all get stuck, we all fall in potholes. In the moment you find yourself stuck, instead of getting more pissed or more entrenched or, the one thing that will kind of like the key that'll set you free is how can I creatively approach this in maybe a way I haven't? Like, just be creative. Think a little bit out of the box. But it's a great year for creativity. It's also a great year to work on any of your childhood traumas because this year it's family and interrelationships. And, none of us are responsible for the trauma that happened to us. Trauma happens to break us open, but we are responsible for how we heal it and if we heal it. And that's where our responsibility comes in. And this is a great year to work on the childhood traumas and really clear up some stuff once and for all. The fourth thing is see the beauty in everything. Life is beautiful. If you haven't seen that movie, it's an extraordinary movie about a journey in a very difficult time where this person could capture and encapsulate the beauty. And 5 may sound really simple too, but enjoy your life. Find the pockets of enjoying your life. So those are the top 5. And, I would like to say that this year, it's a year of committing to new territory, where we find ourselves loving and feeding and nourishing the thing that your heart wants to bloom. And there's a lot of love lessons around emotional expression, compassion and empathy, and honoring your emotions and learning to love yourself and others. So in a nutshell, the 6 is the number of beauty, balance, harmony, and responsibilities around family and home, and of course your own heart. Everyone will want a piece of you, and you need to find that balance between work and play, creativity and expression, and pregnancy, family, children, and pets all come in this year. It's a big year for all of those things. The other thing I'd love to talk about really quickly is we're moved into the Scorpio Taurus eclipse season for 18 months. And this is going to kick up value and worth in everybody and the quality of things versus the quantity. Better to have 2 things you love so much that feed your soul than 6 things that all speak to you. And that's in a nutshell what I wanted to share about the overall global energies for everyone to consider this year.
That's
what
beautiful.
Do you think, Marilyn?
I think that's beautiful because it matches up, right, with the frequencies, right? There's a lot of shifting and a lot of changing in the collective. And And what ends up happening is that when we're working on ourselves, and we've been working on ourselves for, for some time, it appears to sometimes what people do is they say, oh my God, here it comes again. I've already worked this out, and here it is. One more time. I've already done this. I don't want to do this. I want this to be already corrected because I did that work already. And the other piece that I say is, well, we did some of the work, but we didn't get all of it, right? There's always some residue, and there's always yet another story that's living within us. So that's a beautiful thing. And yeah, when you were talking about, value and worth and quality versus quantity, yeah, that's really what it's about, because these frequencies are, they're getting I feel them so deeply and so quickly, and I feel it for the collective, and then I also then feel it in my, for my own energy as well, and it feels more magnified, of course, when it's for the collective, but it still means that there's a stream, right, where that frequency of the collective is part of who I am as well. And so sometimes, we get caught up in that. And it's easier for me to separate that because I understand it and I feel it immediately. But for some people, what they do is they collect it as if it's theirs, and they're not even knowing that they're collecting it. So they're in the energy of, right? You're in that energy and you just don't know.
I love that. I love that you're saying that so much, because I will tell you, I was around a lot of my family, and a lot of the old dynamics, they always come up in every family. And what I noticed for the first time, it was like, yay me, bravo, standing ovation, which is very rare that I ever do that for myself, I will say. But I noticed, being in observation mode, how much stuff I took personal my whole life that had absolutely nothing to do with me. Like, that's their dynamic. That's their little tailspin, And when I could do that, there was such a freedom that came with that. And then when I came home, I had exactly what you were talking about like, why isn't this moving faster? Why am I here? Like, my little hands are on the bars, and I'm like, my head's through the bars going, help me, help me.
Because
and
you know
I could
why?
hear my little person going, help me.
Because you were able to feel what it felt like to really be free and to be joy-filled. And and how it's easy it could be to achieve that. But then you were also shown how easily it is to fall back into the discomfort of the everyday, right? And now it's that part of you that says, wait, I also know, right? It's time to stop and to say, well, let me take a really good look at what intentions am I setting? Right? Am I going to follow through on them? Because the other thing is setting intentions and then following through are two different things, right? Because I can set intentions, and if I never follow through on them, it's never going to happen. Okay, and then I may turn around and say, well, it never happened. La, 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 la. Yeah, but I never followed through on it. So it's not going to happen. So setting the intentions and focusing upon the opposite outcome will only give you and I, right, what we're focusing upon. So when you were there and you were having so much fun, what were you focused on? You were focused on the joy and the, oh my God, the excitement of coming together, the freedom of being out and about, And so all of that helped your spirit, right, to start to feel again, right, to feel good again, and to say, wow, it's still here. I can still feel good. And then when you came back, it was a different shifting because, well, we go back into maybe sometimes it's stagnant energy that we're moving back into. And we already know what freedom feels like. So it's almost like I have my wings out and I'm flying, and then I come back and the energy is stagnant, so I can't even lift my wings even. Never mind taking off. Yeah.
Heavy. Yes.
Yeah.
Remember when you would when you were younger, for me, I'll just speak for me, but you go on vacation and you go to the beach house with your whole family. And the first 2 days, everyone's crazy. Nobody can relax. What am I going to do? Let's make a plan, blah, blah, blah. And by day 3, you're all on the beach, toes in the sand, hat on your head going, I'm not doing anything. I feel so good. And then when you come back, you're like, oh my God, I've got to get back in that schedule of doing things and getting my mojo going, so it's just a different energy.
But the other thing is, now this is the beauty of it. Now, let's say we're at the beach and we have our toes in the sand, and then we're walking towards the water and we're just enjoying this splendid, right? Feeling the air, the breeze of the sea, and we're feeling really, really good. Well, we know how to get into that place. The same way when we go home, we can always sit and put our feet in the sand, right? We close our eyes and we put our feet in the sand and we say, wow, let me feel the breeze and the wind, right? Oh, that feels so good. And maybe I can even smell the seawater, right? Maybe I can even do that. How beautiful is that? Because I can bring myself back into that space. And usually when I'm having amazing times or beautiful, times like that, because I love the ocean, and I just love to sit and just enjoy it. And I love to spend the day in it, twirling and twirling, because that's what I do. I go and I swim and then I twirl and twirl and twirl. And I just release and release. And then I call in, right?
Are you twirling in the ocean or on
in the ocean? No, in the ocean. I get in there and I twirl because I know that it's cleansing. And so what I'm saying is I can bring that with me because I say, remember what this feels like. Remember what it smells like. Remember all the scents that are around, right? And I can bring it with me. So that's a beautiful, processing, right? So we'll be coming right back in a few minutes. So we'll see you then.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
So I'm a cat. And I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Welcome back to Shooting the Shift with Marilyn and Elizabeth. I forgot to mention, when I went to camp as a young girl, we used to say rabbit, rabbit on the first day of the month. And so on my Facebook, I always post rabbit, rabbit, and it's for good luck. And I got to spend 2.5 weeks with a bunny named Kirby because my sister and my niece got a rescue bunny. It was so sweet. I fell in love with the bunny. I never thought that would happen. Okay, so Marilyn, we were talking about you swirling and twirling in the ocean. And, I think that's really important that you just have to come back. I have to come back often to my center. And I have to just say, okay, things are changing. You've got this. Because we tend to run away. I tend to run away with my mind. And I can be like worried about 45 things that are in this air bubble on the right, 12 in this one on the left. And then I'm so overwhelmed, I'm not even focusing on the task at hand. Yeah. So that's what I've been doing, just kind of recentering. And I've been trying to be kind to myself and ease into my schedule, ease into the new year. I was the type of girl back in the day that would have like really unreasonable resolutions, that of course I was destined to fail. And now out of experience, I realize, this is a process. This is an evolution. I'm evolving through this year. I'm not pushing myself through anything. I know a lot of people pick words for the year, and I don't know if you've picked a word for the year or not, but I definitely have picked a word for the year. And my word, yes, okay, good. Go ahead, share. You go ahead and share yours.
Freedom is my word. Freedom is my word. Yeah. Freedom from everything and anything, right? Because I don't want to get caught in the glitching. I don't want, so I choose. So then I'm going to change that word, want, because I always say, remember, Marilyn, it's I choose. So because I want to hold on to my power. So I choose, freedom from the things that I want and the things that I don't want. So in other words, freedom in the things that I want means that I can go out there. I'm free to go out there and explore it. And the things that I don't want, I am free to release or to maybe take a look at it and understand what is it about it that I don't want, right? Because sometimes you're not wanting something, but you're not clear on it. And part of it is fear, right? So we can look at it and say, well, you know what? If that's fear, well, I'm stepping through that. And I'm not going to say that I'm not going to choose that. I'm going to dive in slowly, right? And go through it because it's important. It's an important part, right, of becoming. It's difficult sometimes, though. But freedom, I just want to be able to be free enough from my own, let's say, self-criticism or beliefs, right? Because sometimes your belief systems, you got to turn around. You got to say, wait a minute, whose belief system is this? Because it's not yours. You really don't believe this, do you? And then that I can be free enough to say, I'm releasing this and I'm letting this go. I choose to be free. I choose to be free from this, right? And so that's what I mean by freedom, right? To be able to explore a little bit more. And even if I'm fearful of certain things, to be able to say, well, I'm still going to explore a little bit of this because I need to know. There's a reason why there's fear there. And sometimes the fear is what holds you back from your greatest, right? From your greatest experiences. So, freedom.
Just knowing the fear, sometimes just knowing the fear frees it up. I mean, if you just look fear in the face, doesn't mean that you're not still fearful, but you know what the fear is and you get some freedom just from that,
Right.
Yeah.
What's your word?
Well, my word is vitality. And my word is vitality because, it's like everything that I choose. And that choose word is really important. Like what I choose to put in my body. Like at 3 p.m. in the afternoon when I'm having a crash, am I going to have the candy bar or the piece of chocolate? Or am I going to have a cup of tea and maybe a little bit of protein? Like what is going to make my vitality go up? I think of... I'm so dating myself, but like the Mario Brothers Game Boy, when Mario's little lives would go down and you'd be like on the last bar. So I think of it as like boop, 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 boop. Am I making the vitality go up? And literally having, a piece of green in my hand versus a piece of something that isn't good for me. Or, getting like, am I going to feel more vitality if I go to sleep at 9 than at 11, right? Like, what is going to make, and sometimes you have to eat the cake. I'm not saying sometimes you can say, oh, this cake is going to make me feel really happy, so I'm going to have it. It's not about good or bad. It's about what's going to feed my soul in all ways. And I think that's really important because I want to make sure I have the vitality in my own time, the vitality for my clients, the vitality in my health, in my physical body, and in my, like you said, am I swirling and twirling and building the energy in the right way because I'm getting centered? Or am I swirling and twirling out of control and feeding the chaos, right? So vitality is my word.
That's beautiful, right?
Yeah,
it's beautiful. And twirling, right? I mean, I'm going to give you a little tidbit, right? Because my mother always used to say, my mother always used to tell me, find your way to the ocean. Find your way to the ocean when you're feeling down and troubled, and when you're just feeling, just not quite yourself. Get into the water. And spin and spin and spin. And then just dive in and just come on up and surface and continue to do that with she didn't say intention, but I say intention to release and to clear and to release and to clear until you feel complete. And now you're going to do a new dance, and the new dance in the water, you're going to go clockwise. And you're going to spin love and beauty and joy and compassion and, the love on the planet, the earth, the sea, and everything. You can do a beautiful prayer. And then you dive in and you just soak it all in. And then you surface and you keep doing that, And I thought, wow, that's really beautiful, right? That she would... think of the sea as a cleansing
Was your mama
space.
Pisces, Marilyn?
Leo.
Oh, she was Leo. She must have had some Pisces in her. Because my mama was a Pisces, and she would love that. Even in Santa Fe, New Mexico, she lived next to the reservoir where there was the only water to be found in 50 miles. She always had water.
Yeah.
So she sounds like a Pisces mama to me.
Yeah, and just think about it. When you can't, when you can't do that, when you can't get to the ocean, or you can't, just if you have a tub, you fill it up with, salt, right? With sea salt or, whatever kind of salt you want to put in there. And Epsom salt, whatever salt it is, right? And then you can do those rituals as well, right? My thing is, I always say, and if you don't have a tub, because sometimes people don't have tubs, right? So I tell, because people go, oh, but I don't have a tub, I can't do that. I go, well, you don't have to exclude yourself because you don't have a tub. What you do is you take a big, you can take a big, whether it's a pot or something with a handle that you can just fill up with water, put salt in it, stir it up real good, and then pour it over your head and then get into the shower and do your little spinning. Yeah. And so and that's really about clearing, right? That's really about, that's an intention to clear, and then an intention to bring in the energy that feels better, right? That, that serves you in your highest and greatest good, right? I had written... Yeah, and I had thought about, we were talking about setting intentions and focusing, and setting your focus. The important thing is to look also into yourself, and then ask yourself, what are you believing around this intention? Like, what are you believing when you're setting this intention? What is your belief system around, setting this intention? And then, figure that one out. And then the next one would be, what are you willing to change to obtain the set outcome of your intention? What are you willing to change, if any change is necessary, right? And then what are you willing to let go of, if you have to let go of something? Because sometimes what happens, And then the other thing, which is the biggest one is to be honest with yourself when you're asking yourself these questions, because sometimes we lie to ourselves, right? And that's not helping anybody. I mean, we have to be, just like truly honest with how it is that we're feeling about these, these things that we're doing. And if we're setting an intention and we really want it, then why is it that we're wanting that? What is the belief system around that? Is it, if I do this, then I'll have this, or this is what what's going to come of it? But we have to also be honest about what may also, maybe we get, I was talking about this just a couple of days ago, and I was saying we have to think about the importance of celebrating every step that we're taking towards the goals or intentions that we're setting. So if we take 10 steps forward and 8 steps back, let's celebrate those 2 steps. Let's celebrate them. Let's not talk about the 8 steps we went back on. Let's celebrate the 2, because now remember the focus is on those 2. And now think about the energy, the rising of that energy and that frequency of celebration. And if we continue to do that along the way, right, we're going to feel so much better in that frequency. Better is the word. I want to say that, Marilyn, because it's not about betterizing ourselves. I think a lot of us get into that. We're going, better. Like we could do better. We can be better. We can make things better. And if you can, and what you just said about those 2 steps versus the 8 steps, those 2 steps changed the 6 steps that you didn't take. So, be adaptable, be flexible, and say, well, my plan, I can't get the words out. My plan changed because those 2 steps I didn't expect was going to happen. So maybe those other 6 steps, you just erase them. And there's new ones that come in, right? And you keep moving forward or, directly in the path of where it is that you really want to be heading. And we must really, and I don't like to use that word either, must, because we don't have to do anything. Right. But one thing that we really, truly, really need to do is to recognize, it's to recognize what it is that we need to do for ourselves to get to where we're wanting to go. But always remember why you're wanting to go there. Because, sometimes you're wanting to go there just because you want to go there. But it doesn't mean that it's for your highest and greatest good, right? And then so maybe it changes for you, right, along the way. And then you go, why couldn't I achieve that? Or why couldn't I get that? You know why? Because it wasn't for you. That was not your path. Or that was not, that's not prepared for you yet, right? Or maybe that's just too easy and you've got a higher lesson or a higher evolution than you can imagine. One thing I would add to what you said is effort equals energy. And I think the one question I have to ask myself based on all those sledgehammer resolution moments I had in my youth would be, am I willing to put my energy into this intention? Because you can intend all you want, but if you're not motivated to take and you know me, I'm a heart girl. Like if my passion isn't in it, the bubbles fizzle out of that drink real quick. So, and that's just the way it is though, right? If you are in tune, with your inner being, and this doesn't feel right, then you're gonna be quicker to say, okay, this just doesn't fit. And this is the other thing, 2022, let's stop trying to make things fit. If it doesn't fit, move along. Right. Let's stop trying to, fit in places where we don't fit or or being in places where really we truly aren't happy or we aren't even valued. I mean, those are really truly important, right? You need to be in places where people uplift you, where people value you, where they honor you, they love you, you know, and that you do the same, you know, that you feel the same in that space for them as well. I mean, these are important things to remember because we don't want to keep spiraling in the same space. We want to spiral in a way where there's movement, right? Movement is really the beautiful key here. If we stay stagnant in one place, then we can't see it all. Then we can't experience it all. Then it's just what it is, and it'll always be. So long as we stay in that stagnant energy, it'll always be that stagnant energy effect, right? That you're going to be having in your life, right? And it's always going to be presented to you. So the question is, when you're presented with it, do you say, okay, or do you say, forget this? I'm gonna do something else. I'm moving in a different direction. I already know that this doesn't feel good. If it doesn't feel good, excuse me, but I must part, because there's no reason why, if something doesn't feel good, that I should stay. There is no reason for that.
Unless you make a promise or a commitment. You know, sometimes you make a promise and then you can say, you know, when this time is up or when I've fulfilled that commitment, I'm going to move on. I mean, sometimes we do have things that we have to do, and it's honoring ourselves, right? It's your own integrity. I just want to throw in.
Right, and
I'm struggling with a few of those right now.
I know, but that also has to do with I also believe that sometimes what happens is that when we get that inkling of this is not going the way I expected it, the way I planned it, the way I saw it, the way la. Sometimes in my life experiences, I have learned that I have to take a step back. I have to take a step back, and I have to be able to say, hold on. There's something here. There's more here than me not feeling all of this or experiencing all of this. There's something else. So now let's go in and take a look, because this is growing pains, right? That we're going to feel. And then eventually we can step out. But when we step out, we're going to step out with our all-knowing, right? That's what's going to happen.
Yes, darling. I love that. And I have to tell you, right at this moment, our listener, Pam, just messaged me and said, I love it. If it doesn't fit, time to split.
There you go. We got to go. It's important, right?
Pamela. We got to go to our last break before our show ends. So we're going to go to a break, and we'll be right back for the final segment of our show. And so you guys, please stick with us and come back.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
Imagine yourself being transported to India, to the banks of the Ganga and an ashram in Rishikesh. Visualize that you are welcome to satsang with an American sannyasi who shares the wisdom of her guru. Your visualization has manifested. Join Sattvi Bhagawati Saraswati for inspiration and transformation every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Coping 19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
With everything going on, there may be times you feel like you can't handle it all. Journaling, meditating, and talking with friends and family can help you feel more grounded and better able to cope. Your kids are also going through a lot of new experiences, and simply talking with them about their feelings can be quite powerful.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
Welcome back to Shooting the Shift with Marilyn and Elizabeth. And you know what? I think that might be my new little favorite saying. If it doesn't fit, time to split.
Yeah.
Oh, I will say I did partake. I went to tea, and I went to a lot of I had very yummy, partook in very yummy ingredients. My whole family, we're all foodies. So I hope my pants don't split. So I'm getting back on track now, and it's a little hard, it's like, okay, enough, you partied hardy, and now, time to get serious. But it's all about the vitality. It's not about the sledgehammer or the judging it's what makes me feel good about me in every way. And to me, that's a big enough everything for 2022.
Yeah. And what the other piece is, that is like, I'm going, wait.
Yeah, right? I see.
It's about, before we split, right? Because sometimes we're quick to split, right? We're quick to split. And then we don't fight. Well, but look what happens. There are those moments when we must run, okay? And I just go,
of
run.
Course. Yes, exactly.
But then there are
go
those times.
Go as fast as you can, girl.
Yeah, and we have to go like this and say, okay, what is the teaching from this experience? Because if we just split without recognizing or understanding the teaching that this experience has come to bring us, then we're going to slip right back into the same experience with somebody else or somewhere else, right? Because this is what happens. Energy attracts energy. And so if we still have that frequency that is vibrating within us, it's going to call another frequency that's similar to it right back into the same, because until we receive the teaching, the medicine, the good stuff, right? From the experience, it's hard to really move and separate from that energy. So I really believe we need to deactivate it, and how we deactivate it is by looking at the medicine that this experience is bringing us or has brought us, and here we go. Yeah. Now we can step into a different frequency and vibrate differently in the world. Yeah,
I knew you were going to have to get that out. I knew you were. I mean, I did it to break. I'm like, I can see her whirling and twirling on that one. No, but it's a really good point. We're not saying, run in wild abandonment and avoid.
Yeah.
It's not about avoiding. But if it doesn't fit and you've worked on it and you
gotta go.
You're good to go.
You gotta go.
And, it's like, I always use the splinter analogy. If it's there and it's a festering, it ain't going to stop a festering until you address that splinter, heal it, extract it, look at it, and let it heal.
And you move out. That doesn't mean that you have to stay there, right, to receive the teaching. No. You can move, but you do need to process. You do need to work with it. You do need to say, what held me there? What belief system was I holding of myself that I could not pick myself up and go? What was I believing?
And how many times? I love how you say that. Like there's a joke in Life's Little Instruction Book. That was one of my mom's favorite little books. It was, this book that someone wrote to send their kid off to college. And it was one sentence on each page. And one of them said, remember, overnight success takes 25 years, right? And it's like, sometimes we have to keep getting in that. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's gone. The splinter's gone. It's like, and it's like, wow, all of a sudden the world opened up, the Red Sea parted, the angels wept. But it took 25 years or 25 sessions or whatever the number is that released it. So, patience is a virtue, and it's certainly not one of mine. I'm still
there's nothing overnight.
That.
Yeah. And what's the name of the book?
Life's Little Instruction Book. It's like a teeny tiny itty bitty book. I don't even know if it's in print anymore, but my jaded self back in the day, I wanted to write a book called The Last Nerve, and it was everything that got on my last nerve. But I refrained. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. So now coming up into the new year, right? We've been discussing this, and just talking about, what it is that we really would want to be doing. With the moving forward with the radio listening audience. And we really want to just, get all hands on. We want people to call. We want people to write in if they can. Yes. And so that maybe you want a reading. Maybe you want some energy work. Maybe you have questions. Maybe you want to discuss something. And, because our thought is that we really are speaking to the collective, and the answers will be for the collective as well as the listener who is asking the question. So we really want to do it that way. So we're going to be very light on the topics. We'll maybe start with a little bit of the topic, maybe for the first 5 or 10 minutes or whatever, and then we want to just move into the current frequencies. The current energy that's moving, through the currents right now.
Yeah, and inviting people in to share what's going on with them and how we can help them on their next step or, whatever, or more organically. The problem is we come up with a topic every week, a month in advance, and there's nothing wrong with those topics, but Marilyn and I are so on the fly that by the time we get to the show we planned 4 weeks earlier, we're not even there anymore because we've had everything happen in the last 24 hours. And that's
why it's called shooting the shift, because we are shooting the
literally
shift. Yes. Right? And it's important, right? Because we want our audience to understand that this is the way we kind of move and flow, right? We want to kind of get out of this box frame kind of way of being, and we want to be able to have our listeners partake in this
just
experience.
Be organic in the experience itself. I was listening to our intro, which I still love. We worked so hard on that to get it down to it sounds so great. And OMTimes did a great job of doing the MC and everything. But, it's like both native New Yorkers. And I'm like, I wonder if people who aren't native New Yorkers wonder what we mean by that. Do you have anything to say about that? Because it occurred to me today that maybe people go, so what? Or why? You know what I mean? Yeah. So maybe we should say why that is. I think for me, I grew up in a little island in Greenwich Village in the middle of a big city with every ethnicity, every race, every sexual orientation, and I was in a melting pot. And for me, my life as I know it, the most gregarious, generous, warm-hearted people were the native New Yorkers, and they just kind of kept the real in the deal. There was no mirrors or, my family came from the South, and I'm not saying anything bad about the South, just to put that out there. But, there is that song, Go and Hide Your Crazy, Don't Show Your Realness, don't let people know what's going on. New Yorkers, we have no problem letting people know you pissed me off, you lifted my day, whatever it is, there's real and there's and it's spoken. And I just wanted to say that's kind of the point of what we're trying to do is just be real and genuine in that warmth, in that reality.
And I was born and raised in the South Bronx, and and truly it was a diverse community, and we got to experience different people And
don't you feel so blessed for that? My gosh.
I truly, truly do, because even when I'm talking, I'm going, oh yeah, I remember, this beautiful woman,
so inside down the corner, exactly.
Yeah, and who would cook different types of meals that my mom wouldn't cook, because we just didn't cook that kind. And she would teach. She would say to me, oh, we can do this with the celery. We'll cut it up and we'll do this and we'll do all kinds of stuff. And I would be like, oh wow. I was always so honored, to be able to, sit with so many different nationalities and really just get a little piece of this and a little piece of that and a little piece of this. And it felt so good, So yeah, knowing a little bit about kind of like a little bit of everything, right? Just a tiny little bit.
It's so true, because like I always say to my friend Melissa, who has a show on OMTimes, Postcards to the Universe, she's Italian, her family's crazy Italian. She'll be the first one to say that. And I always say, like, I know there's just a skosh of Sicilian in me, even though I don't have a drop of Sicilian blood. It's that ability to embrace all and embrace everything. And I feel so privileged and honored that I had that. And I could list like 10 different personalities, like you just said in it.
Yeah, and it's so easy to get along with other people because, it's easier for me because I don't have that. I don't have
guard.
That. Who are you and what are you about?
Right. There's no fear around it.
No, it's more like, oh, yeah.
I got you, Nump. I know a little bit of that. I get that. And I do feel that, like a lot of people who grew up in the suburbs or in a certain area that everything is the same, it can make things not as open and broad,
Yeah.
And when I first moved to Colorado, I have to say that's when I really kind of got more about how insidious racism is in our world, because I was not exposed to a lot of that. I had all of it, and I'm grateful for that part of it, part of my journey.
Yeah, and that's part of the teaching, right? That's part of the teaching because we learn, right, through our experiences, and we're able to then say, okay, now how do I handle this situation? I mean, I remember one time when I was working for this large corporation. They were beautiful people. I mean, they were just really, really good to me. And they loved me. And they didn't know my nationality, though.
Who wouldn't love you, Marilyn?
But they didn't even know my nationality. And I never spoke about my nationality because I was the person that always said, when people would say to me, right, where do you come from? What's your nationality? What is your race? What is all this? And I would go, I'm from the human race. What can I say to you? And it wasn't because I wasn't proud. You know what I'm saying? It had to do with, I just felt that when you start to say it so individualized and you separate yourself all the time from people maybe don't take the time to get to know you because they're stuck in whatever belief systems they're in. And I remember one time, I really was shocked because I was, my boss started talking about, Puerto Rican women. And the other women in the office started talking about Puerto Rican women and and it wasn't good. And now, mind you, I am a Puerto Rican woman in the room. And then I was like, and I was very young at the time. I was like 21. And then I'm listening and I'm just allowing them to have this full-blown conversation around it. And after they were kind of like, I could see that they were kind of like done with most of the talk that they were having, I did say, wow, that's really interesting because as a Puerto Rican woman, I really don't see myself that way. And then what I got was, well, but not you. Like I was the exception to the rule. Now, that got me a little bit. And then I said, okay, I said no, and I started to explain to them, but really in a beautiful, compassionate, loving way, for them to understand that, you see, when you judge people by, in groups without even understanding that, then you start to build this kind of like understanding that everyone from that nationality is that type of person. And but it was really interesting because I really got shocked. I really was shocked when I was listening. I was in such shock, and I was thinking, oh my God, people really think that?
And I think, honestly, in a bigger scope, in a bigger scale, what you're saying, Marilyn, is literally what happened in 2019 and 2020 and the pandemic and the division in our country. And really, it's about cohesion and coming together and opening our minds and our hearts to all of the differences, including the icky stuff, so we can heal it. And that's what we're doing. So that's a really wonderful way for us to kind of wrap up our show today, because I just feel so strongly that this is a great opening in this year for us to really, the divine feminine, 2022, the God number of 0 is the God self in your heart. And that divine feminine is about receiving, allowing, opening, right? It's the vessel, the bowl that contains.
Exactly. So let's dive in, right? Let's dive inward. Let's dive inward instead of projecting. And twirl. And let's dance and let's sing and then let's laugh and let's bring joy into our lives. And if we feel unhappy or we feel sad, let's think of a better time. Let's think of, let's just keep that vibration and that frequency. I know sometimes people go, oh my God, you just can't always be happy. No, you can't always be happy. You can go through the sad times, but you can choose to say, I'm going to be here for a minute, but I'm not going to spend the rest of my life in this.
I'm not going to get all puny in this. No. I'm going to get out of it. You have to feel it.
I'm going to find a light, because there is a light there. So let's do this. Let's
freedom and vitality. I mean, that's where you find the freedom and the vitality, right?
Exactly.
So you can't have fluff those wings and have the freedom if you don't feel enough vitality to do so.
Exactly.
So, wow, we came full circle without even trying.
Right?
Well, I'm looking forward to 2022, and I'm looking forward to a lot of people opening up more, and I think that's a wonderful place to wish you all well.
Let's love on each other, okay?
I love you,
blessings,
Marilyn.
love and light. I love you too.
Love and light. Bye.
Bye.